name is Owen McGabby now, and welcome to HYVA, which stands for HireYourVirtualAssistant.com. And one of the things I do is I go out there looking for successful entrepreneurs so I can interview them, and so we can learn from them and take their ideas and implement in our business. And today I have Rob Rawson from TimeDoctor.com on the call. And one of the how I got to find about hear about Robert was I heard him on an interview with Andrew Warner. And one of the things that resonated with me was he was speaking to the fact of how he took the time to systemize, different parts, all aspects of his business, and then was able to automate certain parts of it and figure out which parts he needed to outsource. And that's why I have him on the call today, so really to, dive into more detail about that. So before we say anything anymore, go ahead, Rob, introduce yourself.
It's nice to chat with you, Owen. Yeah. Definitely systematizing your business is a really good topic to focus on. I think it's there's so much we can delve into with that, and the first thing that comes to mind is one of the challenges that I've had with systematizing my business is I don't know if you've had this challenge too, but there's like a million different things that you could systematize, and it's like you go, I had this big plan, I'm going to do this, and this.
Yeah.
And if you try to tackle too many things at once, you never get any progress. You don't actually get any systematization going. You just get a big mess of plans. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. And wow, it was such a long intro. I didn't even get to finish what I was saying. It was all mumbled up, but this is how it is in real time. We get the interviews going as real as possible. I just have to laugh at myself for that. But anyways, one of the things that the audience is going to be thinking about is, okay, why do we have to listen to you? And so I want to really, paint in their mind why this interview is important to them to listen, especially in regards to this topic. So
yes,
let the audience understand why.
Okay. Well, I've been doing internet businesses now for more than 8 years. I started out actually in my parents' place in my bedroom, and at one stage was making very significant money, almost 7 figures, just myself in my bedroom, basically in my parents' place. And I went from there to starting an outsourcing operation in the Philippines with 45 staff. Mostly in the Philippines, but now we've expanded to all around the world. And I was focusing on a whole lot of different areas of internet marketing. One is affiliate program marketing, another is search engine optimization. I've done a lot of stuff with Google AdSense. And a lot of the strategies that I did previously and I systematized really well were things that were very good opportunities on Google AdSense, but actually are not around now, some of those opportunities. And but I've really dabbled in many different areas, even ebooks. I've done several different ebooks, so I've probably had 30 different projects, most of which have been a failure, a few of which are making a small amount of money, and a few made a lot of money. Yeah. So that's my background, and I've definitely got a lot of experience in outsourcing, having my own outsourcing business, and mostly for my own use and some to clients. And secondly, in systematizing my own projects and making them successful by systematizing the processes.
Definitely. So now we've understood why we should listen to you. And so in regards to systemizing a business, we have so many things that we have in mind that we want to do. Help us understand that how we choose which one is the most important parts of our business to even start the systemization process with.
What you need to do is you focus on the thing that's going to make the most difference, and you automate one thing at a time, basically. You systematize one thing at a time. So you start off doing the processes yourself. So if you want to make money online, you don't really want to hire a virtual assistant to do it first, you probably want to do it yourself first. Once you've done it yourself, you then outline the different processes. You automate the processes that you can automate with software.
Yeah.
And then you hire people to do the parts of the process that you can't get software to do. So there's some things that it's very difficult to get software to do, and then you hire somebody to do that. And in my case, I hire people mostly in the Philippines, but also in I have one guy in Canada, one guy in Australia, and a few in Eastern Europe and Russia, and much lower cost way of hiring people. And so I guess you systematize the processes for them, and then you hand it to them, and then they just execute on the process. But it's obviously better if you can systematize with a computer. If you can get things to be done just automatically with a computer program, that's better, because computer programs are faster than people.
Definitely. And so that the audience, when we explain a concept, one of the things I do on this show is when a guest explains a concept on the show, I want to get them to back it up with something concrete, like with an example that will help us really understand what you're talking about. So is there something that we can dive into as to, in terms of systemization of something you have done in your business, and we can learn from that, for instance?
Okay. An example is I had a campaign that was quite successful on Google AdWords previously, and the campaign was promoting ringtone products, and it was with hundreds and thousands of different keywords on Google AdWords. And so the systematizing process of that is, how do you get all of the keywords?
Yeah.
I mean, this is actually not quite as difficult an area because it doesn't take so long to complete the whole thing, but you get all of the keywords. That's the first step. And then how do you write the ads? How do you put them on Google AdWords? And that's pretty much the different steps. So in this case, I actually had a person to upload the ads. You can get software to do that, but I didn't do that. And I used, for getting the keywords, I had somebody, a programmer, actually go to a music site. So I got them to go to one of the lyrics type sites where they have a list of all different artists, and I got them to extract automatically, like basically scrape from that website a list of thousands and thousands of different artists and put it in an Excel spreadsheet for me. Yeah. So then that Excel spreadsheet has a list of all of these different artist names, and then using the Excel spreadsheet, I just added the text for the different ads on Google AdWords, and then had somebody add all of those Google AdWords ads into Google AdWords, and then we promoted the product. So it gives a kind of an overview. I mean, that doesn't apply, that specific situation doesn't apply, but I guess the principles that apply for other people are a combination of using automation and using people. That's one thing. Learning how to use Excel spreadsheets really well, and because I know how to do formulas on Excel spreadsheets, and that, you just press one button and you can get 1,000 different formulas done. Then you don't even need a programmer to do that. And the other principle is doing it in a big scale. So if you just tried to do this, I'm sure there's lots of people that did exactly the same thing as me, but they did 10 ads. So instead of 10 ads... When you see me
bend my head down, I'm still listening. I'm just writing down questions to ask you later. Okay. So go ahead.
Absolutely. So instead of doing 10 ads, because I systematized it, because I did this great Excel spreadsheet, because I extracted every single music artist from the web, I did thousands of ads. So I made a lot more money than somebody who just did 10 or 20 ads, and they didn't think to do 1,000 of them.
Okay, so and I like that you actually give us a concrete example as to something that specifically applies to your business. And from what I'm hearing from that is that you're taking the time to first of all learn how to do it yourself, as opposed to just giving the task to somebody and not really knowing how exactly they're going to do it. Just so the thing is it only possible for someone to systemize a business only if they have done the task themselves? Is that the sense that I'm getting, or
No, no, not necessarily. For example, I don't know how to program, and I don't have any intention to learn how to program. And so in that case, I'm not really going in and doing it myself. So it's not the case that I need to go and do everything myself, but I think in the case of online marketing, probably yes. Probably if you're one of the key leverage points for people that are making money online and you're just a sole operation, you may be one or two people to start off with.
Yeah.
The key leverage point is marketing, online marketing. So you need to do the online marketing yourself, and before you then hand it off to a virtual assistant, I would say. If you have a website and then you expect to just give that website to somebody and say, market it for me, that's a really difficult task. That's unlikely to be successful. You need to educate yourself on online marketing and learn how to do it yourself.
So definitely, so I clearly understand when it's a task that you know how to do, be it an online business or a mom and pop shop, whatever kind of business.
Yeah.
If it's a task that you know how to do yourself, what I'm hearing from that is take the time to outline the entire process, and then figure out which parts of it are the parts that you need to automate, and which parts needs to be delegated to certain people, like your employees or even your virtual assistants.
Yes.
But what I'm still trying to, because I'm sure people who listen to this call might have things that they don't know how to do. They probably have an idea of how, what they need done. They can explain what they need done. But then
Yes.
how do we integrate the whole, systemization and outsourcing with those kind of tasks?
Okay. Well, a lot of the things that they don't need to do are probably programming related, or if they're doing an online business, or website related. Now, I think when it comes to programming, I had this kind of revelation a few years back, which is that basically you can do almost anything you want. You tell the program, I want it to go from here, do this, and do that, and do that, and they can do it. How do you make it happen when you can't do it yourself? Then you have to find the right people who can actually do it for you. And how do you find the right people? The answer, for me, the best answer to that is that you actually get a test that tests their specific skill, and then you give that test to several people using platforms like Odesk and vWorker and other outsourcing programs like that, or you hire them directly on using advertising online. And then you get those people and you give them, lots of them, a test, which tests the exact skill that you want them to be able to do, and then you see the output of the test. Now, there's an additional layer there. Now, if you don't even understand the test, like if you're not a programmer and you want to test someone on their programming skills, you kind of need somebody initially who's really good, even if it's a friend, or just you need that initial person who can evaluate the programming skills of the other programmers. So you kind of need that to get the ball rolling, if you know what I mean.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting from that really is just so the audience understand is, you are talking from your perspective, which is the type of business you've been in and the type of things that you need. And even though you've been saying talking about programmers so far, what I'm getting from that point is that when you want to outsource or systemize a task that you don't have any idea on how to do, not necessarily programming, it's really trying to find a group of people who have that ability to provide you with that skill, and then giving them a test that will help you evaluate who has the best who has the best result, or who delivered the best result, so that you can hire that person. And in cases where you don't even know how to come up with a test, then it's up to you to find somebody who understands the type of task that those people are going to work for you on and help you build that test, because you need to really be objective on choosing the right team member for those tasks that you have no idea on how to execute. I like the way you put out that point. And one other thing was that you mentioned was in regards to when you're systemizing tasks and outsourcing, you say scale. I mean, you say you have to scale. Explain that point, because I'm curious as to what you mean.
Well, I think there's a bit of a mental block that people can get to sometimes. If they find something that's successful, they might be making $5,000 a month with it. But online, the world is so big. There's so much potential that if you're making $5,000 a month, there's probably the potential to make 50,000. It's not 10 times harder to make 50,000 than to make 5,000. It's really not. There's a mental block that some people have. Well, I'm making 5,000, that's all I can make, and they don't take the extra efforts. It might only be twice as much effort to make 50,000 as it is to make 5,000 a month in a lot of cases, because all you have to do, if you've got a process for making the 5,000, you just have to duplicate it to more areas, to more types of keywords or strategies or pages, whatever it is that's generating the results for you, just duplicate it. So that's what the systematizing is about. The systematizing is not going to get you to the 2,000, 5,000 a month. Systematizing is going to get you, once you're already making the 5,000 a month, how can you then take it to 50,000 a month? That's the key to systematizing. Now, if you're not already at the 5,000 a month, you kind of need to get there yourself, really, with a little bit of outsourcing. Spend $100 here, $500 there for somebody to do a few different things to help you out. But you need to be able to make money with your own efforts first.
So it's scaling, not kind of like an additional benefit that you get out of actually taking the time to systematize your entire business. Because I'm thinking now that, when you have a system that works based on the fact that you took that time to systematize and outline everything you're doing, now the scaling part of it is just the benefit, in the sense that, okay, if it takes you this amount of input or work to get this kind of result, because you've outlined the whole system and you've systematized everything, then in order to get X amount of output, then you have to, a multiple factor of work has to go into it, and you just basically applying that whole idea of scaling to the system you have.
Yeah, because once you have the system in place, the scaling is much easier. So it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to scale it. Whereas if you're doing it all yourself, you can't go from the 5,000 to 50,000 because you run out of hours and you're just trying to do everything yourself.
Definitely. And this brings me to a question of, with this whole thing of making a system out of whatever you're doing in your business, there are certain things that I'm sure one cannot outsource, or even, one cannot even automate. Basically, you have to make use of a person and delegate. So how do you find that balance, or how do you even know which tasks in your business or processes are the ones that you delegate to a human being, and which ones you figure out how to create kind of an automated process around, and where it's done by a software or something?
Well, the different types of systematization, you can have software which does it automatically. You can have software human combination, where you can have the software which helps the human to make their job faster, or you can just have the person just do it themselves. Usually, it's a combination of all of these factors. And how do you work out which is the areas that that you can automate with software? It's really where you're doing. That's a difficult question to answer. You kind of have to look at the specifics.
Yeah.
But if you look at a process that's done on the web, what you can do is, once you've got a good programmer, you can really ask them, how do I automate that? What's the first thing that I can automate? And one of the aspects with that, which we didn't mention, is the first thing that you want to automate is the bottleneck. So if you've got a whole process, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you figure out what's the thing that takes the most time and effort, and then you figure out how to make that a lot less time and effort. And usually you can use computers for some part of it. So let's say you need a person to type in a code, for example, like a a capture code or something like that. So what you can do is you can get a software program to automate every single other part and just show the person a bunch of capture codes on the page, and then they can enter the codes. That's just one example of what you could do. So you figure out which part of the process the human has to do, and then you automate every other part, and you just make it easier for the person to do what they need to do. Or for example, if you need to research a list of thousands of different websites, but you can't do all the research automatically, you do part of it automatically by downloading it into Excel spreadsheet, and then in that Excel spreadsheet, someone just adjusts it manually and just fine-tunes the data to make sure that it's okay.
Definitely. So my takeaway from that point of figuring out which parts of your system to automate is really, like you said, looking for the most time-consuming parts of it, what's called the bottleneck, and figuring out how to turn that into an automated system. I get that.
Yes.
And then some other things too that people might say is that I keep hearing this word by other business owners saying you don't want to outsource certain parts of your business. You want to keep certain parts of your business to yourself. So if you can go into more details as to that, or if you have a different feeling as to that statement, I'd like to learn about it.
Okay. So for me as an entrepreneur, my goal is to consistently try and get everything off my plate. So if I have a list of 100 tasks, I want to say, can I get someone to do this, this, and this? So every single task that I can possibly get them to do, I want to get somebody else to do. But then that's balanced by what am I absolutely good at and that other people are not as good at. So for example, with my software right now, I am focusing on doing some testing, not actual testing of the software, I have somebody for that, but on doing the new features of the software, analyzing what new features we should have. And so that's one of my major focus areas at the moment that I'm working on. And I've lost my train of thought now.
So what were we talking about? Trying to get to the answer of which parts of your business should you outsource and which parts should you keep to yourself as the entrepreneur within your company? Which activities do you need to outsource and which ones do you need to hold on to as things that you guys do in your business?
I think you should outsource them all as much as you can, one at a time. And at the higher level you get in an organization, the more you can outsource. So if you're a CEO of Walmart, you outsource a ridiculous amount of things, you know what I mean? You just outsource everything. But if you're a smaller guy, there are some things like your own bank accounts. You want to be a signatory on the bank accounts. You want to be selecting key employees. You want to probably be the spokesperson of your company. You want to do a lot of the key marketing functions, most likely, depending on how big your company is. It's a difficult question to ask. I think what's more important is what's the first thing you should outsource. So here's your business right now.
Yeah.
And what's the first thing that you should automate? And I think the first thing is whatever takes a lot of your time and is easy for somebody else to do or is easy to automate. And you just do that, and then you work on the next thing that you can automate. So it doesn't really matter what you can or cannot outsource. What matters is what are you going to do next? What's the next thing you're going to automate?
I like that approach to it, because instead of trying to figure out what you cannot outsource and what you can, you're basically looking at it from a perspective, okay, let me start getting a lot of things off my plate, and you just keep on trying to get things off your plate by either automating or outsourcing, and over time, there will be only a few set of things left on your plate, which are going to be the core activities that you need to be focusing on in the first place. So not necessarily, you just go in there and get the job done and start outsourcing and automating from the get-go. That's the point I'm getting from you.
Yeah, and also spend lots of your time thinking about how to improve the business. So don't just spend all your time in it. answering customer emails, doing this, doing that, but spend a lot of time thinking, how can I make this business better? How can I get more customers? What's a better total new area of marketing strategy? Now, if you've outsourced a lot of things, you have that time to spend doing those functions, and those are some of the functions that you're probably not going to outsource, is thinking about those things. Maybe it's training yourself, listening to other entrepreneurs about how they've become successful. It's something that I do a lot. I listen several hours a week to entrepreneurs and what they do, because one idea is something that I can implement in my business.
And basically what you just said just now is kind of the same way they say work on your business and not in your business. It's that whole process of trying to think the big picture of how to take your business to the next level.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and so, I mean, the audience have understood, the process that you use for automating and systematizing your business, as well as outsourcing several activities. But they have had to have been some challenges that you have gone through throughout the entire process. Because I think learning from challenges as well is also a good thing, for the audience. So, anything comes to mind in regards to challenges?
I think there are lots of different challenges. One challenge is if you have an area where the methods that you're using are constantly changing. It's hard to systematize if you're constantly changing the methods. And I don't necessarily have an easy answer for that, but actually the better long-term businesses are where you can apply some degree of systematization and just continue to improve those systems over several years to the point where it just becomes like a well-oiled machine. The other challenge is a really big challenge, which is finding the right people to implement the strategies. And I think that there's two elements to that. Is it a people problem? Like, have you got a problem with not getting the right people? Or have you got a problem with not having the right systems for that person to follow? So probably you should think about it being a system problem first, and actually think about what is a step-by-step process that they can take. Yeah. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then most people can do that. You can get a person who may not have done so well in this kind of nebulous environment where you didn't outline exactly what they're supposed to do. Yeah. And as soon as you outline that and you put in place a real system for them to do that, then the person is now a good person. But then sometimes it is a people problem, and then you can also work on what is your process for hiring people. So maybe I could talk about that a little bit. I don't know if your listeners actually are hiring. Are they generally hiring people, and they're in that process of hiring people?
Go ahead. We want to learn as much as possible. That will give more meat to the entire topic.
Okay. So the systematizing the process of hiring people. For me, the biggest impact in that is the volume. So if you interview 2 people and select one, you're going to get a certain kind of result. If you've got hundreds of people in your funnel, and then you select one out of those hundreds, you're much more likely to be picking a superstar. Wow. And it's not that simple, but it's one of the principles that I consider is that if I can get hundreds of people into my funnel, and so to do that, I use every single way that I can think of to find people, promote, whether that's advertising in Google AdWords, advertising in Facebook, using websites like Odesk. I'm sure your listeners would have heard of these kind of websites. So instead of just using Odesk, use all of them. Use Odesk, use freelancer.com, use vworker.com. It doesn't take long to post on 3 different sites at the same time, and then give them have a very, very simple way that takes very little of your time to assess these people. So it might be that you ask them a question if you're selecting someone on Odesk, for example, it might be that you ask them a question in Odesk about something related to the person that you're hiring, and you see if they can answer it in their actual interview. Most people just have spammy answers. I don't know if you've hired people on Odesk before.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they have a form letter, and they'll just send that form letter to 50 different people. So you don't want to even respond or listen to those form letters. You want to ask them a specific question. Please answer this question, and preferably make it a hard question in the actual interview. And I find that that's a more effective process for screening people and narrowing them down. And then once we narrow them down, go through a more detailed process of screening them and interviewing them and so on.
Definitely. So what I'm getting from that is that you also are systematizing your hiring process, and because you know the kind of task you need these people to work on, you've taken the time to outline maybe a simple test that everybody is going to be evaluated on, and then you go on a bunch of these different sites to find people and use that same set of questions that everybody's going to have to answer, and provide you with the answers for them, and hence you use everybody's response to figure out which are the best set of people to basically hire or maybe go to the next step with.
Yeah. Now, I don't know about your experience, but there's a lot of people that talk about outsourcing to the Philippines or other countries and systematizing your business by hiring virtual assistants, and I think it's great, and it definitely works, and it's an amazing thing to do. Yeah. However, there are a lot of pitfalls, and it's very difficult, I find, to find really good people. My experience is that when I tried hiring in India, for example, I've never found one person who I was really happy with. And that's not specifically about India, but it's just the example that you can really, when you're doing that, and you're really hiring it relative to the United States and the developed world, you're hiring at much lower salaries.
Yeah.
You can't automatically expect the person is going to be amazing. I mean, their salary might be 1/5 or 1/10 of the salary of somebody in the United States. So if that's the case, how can you expect them to be just as have the same skills? And in most cases, they do not. And in most cases, you're going to be pulling your hair out and just really frustrated. So that the element of trying to get the right person is so important in my experience. Combined with the element of giving them a step-by-step process so that it doesn't matter so much whether you have the right person. So if you combine getting the right person plus systematizing the process that they follow, then you're in a much better position where you can achieve results.
I like that point you just made, because now you're saying scale out the process of finding the right person. So you've gone onto all of this different website and you've blasted your job requests on there, and you've had all these responses come back to you based on them following, I guess, a test or an outline of what they need to do to prove that to you that they are the right people. And so as a result of that, a bunch of people are going to fail out of the test, and so you only see the people that rise to the top, which hopefully are the best type of people, of which you now screen even further and then choose the right one person for your business. And then in order to enhance your experience with that one person when you get them, you now back that up with an outline that's really a training of how to get the work done, that's really very, very detailed, that goes step by step, talking about what you need to do, how to get it done, and the results that you are looking for, as well as how you're going to even verify the results for them. And then that way it helps you kind of, I guess, maybe you make your the outcome more uniform regardless of who's doing it, I guess.
Yes. I followed this same kind of process in finding real estate partners in the United States. So I had some money that I wanted to invest in real estate, and I can see there's a massive opportunity right now in some areas in the US. And so what I did is I put up a bunch of ads. I responded to hundreds of ads, and I've also put up my own ads. And then I got a flow through. So this is my first concept, is getting a flow through of a lot of people. In this case, I probably got 300 to more than 300 people that contacted me saying, here's some deals, here's what I do, here's what I do. So I have 300 people contacting me. Now, the next thing is...
On a side note, though, because that is very interesting, because I don't want to interrupt you, because I want to just make sure I ask this, is when you're doing, how are you exactly getting these people to contact you? Is it using AdWords or...
I actually did, in this case, I did an advertisement in a real estate site, very popular real estate site, and I also did an advertisement in Craigslist, and I also responded to ads in Craigslist.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
Yeah.
keep going. I was just curious. Go ahead.
Sure. So then I got, those people contacted me. Now, I have 300 people. They all want to contact me via phone, right? Now, I don't know if you've ever had 300 people contact you by phone, but it would not be a happy situation. You'd be like, you know, and plus some people just blab on forever, you know, they never stop talking. And even though you're ready, even though you know it's not the right situation, they're going to talk for half an hour. It's going to waste a lot of your time. So that was my next principle is I just gave them an email address and then asked for them to send me details. And then, so they start sending me details via email. Now you can respond to 300 emails. It's quite possible. You can respond to 300 calls, but it's going to take you a lot longer. Yeah. So I did it all by email in the beginning, back and forth a bit by email. And then it's very easy to narrow those 300 down to probably 30 that are quite serious and good, and then narrow that 30 down to about 6 people that I actually did business with. So, and then the final ones that I actually called was probably only 15 or 20 that I actually spoke with in detail over the phone. And that process of narrowing it down just made it a lot easier and manageable. And it also means that I'm just hopefully going to get much better results because you've just got a much wider funnel, you know.
Definitely. I mean, I've really learned a lot from this call, and I'm sure that you know, my audience as well has learned something. And just for anybody who's trying to, you know, one last message just for anybody who's trying to get into this whole process of trying to, you know, systemize their entire business, figure out what to automate, what to outsource, you know, and really scale their business as a result of doing that. What is that one thing that you want to leave with them to encourage them, you know, that is the way to go?
So I think the most important thing for me, and we already talked about it, is the scale. Instead of doing it 10 times, do it 100 times. Instead of doing it 100 times, do it 1,000 times. And just think about how you could scale it much bigger. What process would you need in order to be able to do that? So that's probably the one thing that I would say. And I'll also mention, if you don't mind, is if you are hiring people, especially in the Philippines, or you have a team remotely, check out my software, which is Time Doctor, which is really great for managing that team, which is actually on a free beta at the moment, which is
definitely. So I guess everyone listening, if you need a tool to help you with project management and time management when you indeed have a team, check out what was the tool again?
Time Doctor.
TimeDoctor.com.
Yeah.
And also, Rob, in case anyone wants to get a hold of you, how best can they do that?
I think the best way, they can go to Time Doctor and just contact me via there. That'd be okay.
Is there a way they can contact by Twitter or Facebook as well?
I'm on Facebook, and Twitter is Manage Your Time is my Twitter handle.
Yeah.
And if they can, but if they want to just email me, they can just email me from the contact us on the Time Doctor side, and then they can get in contact that way.
Thank you very much for doing the interview.
Okay. All right, it's really great to chat with you. It's awesome.
So what do you think?
Yeah, that's great. That's really.
So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really want to know what exactly you think. I mean, if I suck and if I'm not doing a good job, I want to know, because by your input and your comments, your suggestions, your feedback, that's how I'm going to improve on the entire package of what I'm sharing with you. I really want to improve so that you know that your time is well spent when you watch my videos. And if I do good on interviews, and if you like certain things I do, please let me know so I can even improve upon that as well. And I want to thank you really, because your time is well spent, and I mean, your time is important to me, and I want to make sure that I continuously put this information in front of you. So I want you to join my community, and in order to do that, you need to click on the link that says get the free ebook, enter in your name and email, and you will receive as a gift from me my free ebook titled The Entrepreneur's Guide to Running a Business in the Cloud. The reason I do that is because I want to share with you that information. You can check it out and make use of it in your business. In the same vein, I will be sending you email updates every time I have new blog posts, as well as if I have new stuff that is not even on the blog, I want to share with you. That way we can stay in contact. One more thing, before you go, I want to also let you know that if you are really serious about finding, hiring, training, and even working with virtual assistant, if right now you want to get that started, why don't you sign up for my free webinar where I share everything about the entire process. And you can get to do that by clicking on the link on the very top of my blog where it says sign up for the free webinar. Again, thanks for watching the video, and I hope to see you next time.